wrapping up our best purchases of 2021. This is Mac Voices. Mac Voices is supported by ZocDoc. Find local doctors who take your insurance. Learn more at ZocDoc.com/MacVoices. Welcome to Mac Voices. This is the talk of the Apple community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, this is the third and final part of our Mac Voices live discussion on some of the best products that we purchased in 2021. We've had quite a varied set so far, and there are even more to come. So let's go right back and let the panel do the talking. Warren, I don't think we've heard from you.
Yeah, you always forget about me. A couple of things. The piano was good. Kelly, I think, convinced me to get the Touch ID keyboard for my Mac Mini.
First off, how dare you? Oh, sorry. Yeah,
you said something about it. Yeah,
you're welcome.
Other than that, you guys were talking about monitors and hooking it up to the M1. So I have a challenge that I'm trying to get through. So I got dual monitor set up. I got a ARM, looks great. Got my M1 connected to the two monitors. One's going to the HDMI in the Mac itself, and the other one USB-C hub with a HDMI cable. So here's my challenge. I'm getting a work laptop. It's going to be Windows, I'm sure, because it is. Also, I opted for the Android phone instead of an iPhone for the new job. We'll get into that later. But in any case, I'm going to get a laptop. So my goal is in my setup, I want to easily switch between the two computers to get them on the dual monitors. So, I've seen options out there. So, typically it's a KVM switch, right? Keyboard. Some people say get two KVMs and that will do it, but that's kind of messy. Another option I've seen are HDMI switchers. That's kind of messy too. And then obviously the other option would be to use like the secondary connection, use HDMI into one monitor and like DisplayPort, and this way you could switch on the screen. So I'm up to suggestions on that one.
So I want to make sure I got it. So you're saying you want to have two monitors set up and then switch it between two different computers.
Right. I want to see dual screens on both a Windows laptop and my Mac Mini. Obviously not at the same time, but when I'm working on the Windows laptop, I want it to switch to the two monitors, the dual monitors for that laptop, and then when I want to go back to the Mac, switch back. So,
I believe DisplayLink is the option for you here.
Okay, so DisplayLink going from DisplayLink.
Well, it's just into a hub, and then you would have to pick like which display format you want. So like one machine gets HDMI ones, and the other one gets mini DisplayPort or whatever. Because you're gonna have to use both two outputs off, two of the plugs on the back of the monitor. So maybe you can HDMI everything. I don't know. I don't know what the rest of the setup looks like. So
no, you could HDMI everything. It's just switching between the two computers to the two monitors is what I'm trying to do. And there's a cute solution. Dave would appreciate this one. There's a Luna Display. Remember Luna Display?
Yeah, Luna Display is great.
I still have the somewhere. I still have the little dongle, the USB-C dongle thing. And yeah, I got one done. So anyways, their new trick, since they were kind of Sherlock by Apple with the sidecar, is you could do it from a Windows computer. So you could put that USB-C dongle in a Windows computer and let that you could control it from a Mac.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another trick I tried, which is actually kind of neat. So basically it broadcasts from the Windows laptop through the Luna Display using, what do they call it, Dave? AstroPad now?
AstroPad's the software install on the Mac. Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you do that, and basically you see what's on your Windows laptop on your Mac, and then obviously with the dual screens, you got it there too. So yeah, cool stuff.
So this is probably going to be a lot more expensive, but could you have two hubs that would support the two? No, that won't work. Never mind.
Well,
No.
I kind of see where you're going. Like that's
That's how I'm
If I-
set up now.
right. Well, I mean, if I have my Windows laptop, if I bring my Windows laptop and it has USB-C, then I could just get like a USB-C hub that has an HDMI connector on it and do what I'm, basically just swap the hub out to get it.
Well, yeah, I guess I was thinking, Warren, that just set everything you possibly can set up through the hub, and then when you want to switch computers, just manually, pull it out of the one and stick it in the other, and you'll
thought
get
about that.
everything back.
I thought about that, but you can't get both monitors come through the hub. as far
Why?
as I know.
With the DisplayLink hub, you can.
Well, with a normal So with a normal hub, I don't think I've seen two HDMI ports coming out of a normal
No,
USB-C hub.
no, probably not two HDMI's, but you could certainly do an adapter from an HDMI to DisplayPort.
That's what
That's what-
happens behind me right now on the mini.
That's what Kelly's
back
saying,
there.
right? So
Yeah.
you get a display port that way. Yeah.
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 But
So that's an
I'm
option
thinking
too.
that way, if you got a big enough hub like one of the OWC or one of the OWC docks, then you could have external storage. You could have all kind of options plugged in that would just everything would move over as soon as you plugged it into the other machine.
It's
Mhm.
right. It's not as elegant as the USB, the Thunderbolt ports on the back of the or on the back of the Mac Mini. So going
Right.
back there, having to get back there, unplug that thing, and come back and forth is such a
Yeah.
chore.
Warren, I'm with you on this problem
Yeah,
because I can jokingly say you have to move the cable from one computer to another like an animal,
like a caveman, right?
like a
So-
caveman.
right.
But the reality is the ports aren't in the right place to make it easy and convenient, and why have the extra wear and tear when you could just have like the KVM system that does exactly what you want but can't find.
Hey,
No.
Warren, do you absolutely need to have two computers? Could you do something with virtualization and then just run everything off your Mac and solve it that way?
I don't know. I have no idea. They're giving me a laptop tomorrow, so I know it's I don't know what's on it. I
Oh,
don't know.
oh,
Or
Okay.
maybe even RDP into it.
Yeah, yeah.
I think Luna Display has a lot of potential for you.
It was cool. It had some wonkiness with it was hard to get the windows to show on both screens, and I was kind of getting like the Luna Display on one screen and one of my two screens of my Mac on the other screens, and it didn't work. So, but it was fun to play with. But there are KVM switches that every KVM switch has the option for the keyboard and mouse too, which I'm not sure if I need that because it's a laptop, but it has a keyboard. But you could get for $300. I've seen a KVM switch that supposedly will have two inputs to two computers and two outputs, HDMI out. So I don't want to spend $300.
That's an interesting one, Warren.
Probably IO Gear.
IO Gear. I'll check it out. I did check out OWC to see it because the other option would be an expensive. Yeah.
So one of your Macs.
No, they're mine.
Do you
It
have any
might-
more
it might-
children you could sell?
Huh?
Yeah.
But I
might
do
be
have a
worth-
Windows computer hooked up to my keyboards, even though I have one
it
hooked
might be-
into.
Warren, it might be worth just calling OWC and seeing if they have any suggestions. By
Yeah,
combining.
just lay it
the
out. This
hardware.
is what I'm trying to do, and they'll help you
Yeah, because their
And-
tech people are so good,
And
and they have a wide
reach out to
variety of stuff.
Kensington because Kensington
Yeah.
will do bespoke docks.
Oh,
Oh,
what
yeah,
now?
that's right.
They do what
and
docs?
bespoke,
They'll custom make a
made.
dock for you. I just
Yeah.
use fancy words. Sorry about that.
That's gonna no, but that sounds expensive. But
You can afford it. Like I said, sell a Mac
I
and
mean,
an iPad.
Or
I
a
love 'em
kidney.
all. I love them all. They're babies. They're my babies.
Kidney, yeah, or a liver, or an eyeball, or an ear.
Children.
Uh,
Sell
Um,
extra children.
I
Where
only got
this is
one.
completely
Yeah.
shoot from the hip, but take a look at Targus. Targus has had some really interesting docks the last couple of years. I don't know if they have one that'll do what you're looking for, but
Yeah. You know, it's USB-C is still. I mean, that's part of it too. But I'm also looking for, if anybody knows, I want to turn one USB-C port into 4 USB-C ports.
I
Shouldn't be that
laugh only
hard.
because I feel your pain.
if it's USB-C, doesn't Hyper have a thing for you?
What the thing that docks the only thing I know from Hyper is the dock that plugged into the side of the MacBooks.
But they make a bunch of different iterations of that. And
I don't think there's any that
There's 2.
give
They're
you more
$100.
USB-C ports.
Yep. I mean, it seems like it should be so easy. There's 2 I've seen and they're like, $100. It shouldn't be this hard.
Satachi does a 4-port USB-C.
That's the one. Yeah, that's one of
that's the next one I was
And that
looking
one's
at.
$40.
Is it 40?
The ones
Which
I've
is
seen are
which
in
is still a
one, like
lot for a
5
hub.
ports in
Yeah.
one, or 7, in 2, and it uses both your USB-C ports in order for the power to do what it needs to do.
If you
That
read
might
the
be-
reviews too on that one, I've read that. Everybody says if you try to plug in if you plug in 2 drives to it, it cuts off. So
That's a problem.
yeah. So I mean, it's just crazy that there's like millions of USB A to 100 A ports, but
But the
this
throughput on-
USB-C,
the throughput stuff, like, I don't want to turn this into a conversation about spec because, but in practical terms, it's usually because the USB-C stuff is drawing a lot more power, or it's requiring a lot more throughput than what USB-A ever did or ever could. Like, C
yeah,
does orders of magnitude more in throughput and in power.
but I'm talking about
managing-
plugging in USB type devices into this stuff. I mean, it's
Yeah, but
There
in order
should-
for each port to do what the old ones did, which was you can plug as much stuff into it as you want. It doesn't matter what it is. If you have 3 spots to plug things in, any 3 things you plug in, everything's fine. You don't have that with USB-C because of partly for power and partly for throughput, because you can't jam that much stuff through the one port that you've got internal to the machine. And I'm going to stop explaining because it's just going to get real boring real fast.
no. I mean, to add to
Keep
it,
going, Kelly.
the reason is USB-A only had really 1-2 jobs, right, to charge and to do that. I mean, it was very limited of what it could do. USB-C could deliver so many different protocols over it. So
Yeah. I mean, that's
can't-
the rest of it is there's so
they
like
overcomplicated
the
it.
capability of it. Yeah. USB-A, for lack of a better term, USB-A was really dumb and it just passed through whatever it was, and whatever you did on the internal bus was always going to be way faster than anything that you did externally. And so I said I was going to stop talking and I meant it, so I'm stopping.
Right, but there should be like 1,000 devices on Amazon at this point that will, that Saatchi does, and basically all say the same thing. Is that one says will not charge because it doesn't. You can't
Yeah.
charge
Well,
from it.
they can't because it's not the same technology that it used to be, and that's the part that is frustrating. I think a lot of people.
The chip manufacturers are not building a chip to do that.
It doesn't work like it did the end. Like, yeah,
or at least not yet.
Lame.
as of
No,
now.
the same problem was with Thunderbolt.
Mm-hmm. It's partly power and it's partly throughput, and yeah, like,
Well, it's basically some chip manufacturer had, and about a year ago, some chip manufacturer started doing that for Thunderbolt because all of a sudden OWC and CalDigit and I think a couple others, and they all came out at the same time because some chip manufacturer must have come out with the chip and then they started building the devices. But
But even with
companies.
power, even with power, can't they? They don't even offer like one you could plug into the wall. You know,
But I think it's probably the throughput more than the power. And plus it's not so you plug it into a wall. The point is you have to have a chip that will, route the digital signals. And, if you have multiple USB-C ports that, what if you plug an SSD drive into all 4 of those?
Well,
That
that's
could be a lot of data.
well,
So-
Hitachi, what the review says is it just shuts them down, so it can't handle it. So
Well-
basically, that's what it does. But I mean, again, if you want to plug in a mouse, whatever, a mouse, a keyboard, and something else that's lightly USB-C, even if it's one USB-C. I'm trying to give you an example of something not like a drive that takes a lot of power. But anyways, just typical low power devices, there should be a way to do that. Even if Amazon and these places say, well, made for this, made for, works with, mice, keyboards, printers, with the,
It's not going to happen unless a chip manufacturer decides that they can make money at it.
This edition of Mac Voices is supported by ZocDoc. Find local doctors who take your insurance. Finding and booking a doctor who's right for you doesn't need to be a terrible experience. Will they take your insurance, understand your needs, or be available at a time you can see them? With ZocDoc, the answer can be a refreshingly pain-free yes on all counts. ZocDoc is a free app that shows you doctors who are patient-reviewed, take your insurance, and are available when you need them. You're busy, right? I know I am. Finding something that works for my schedule is a challenge. After all, who's the patient here? With ZocDoc, not only find the doctor who is right for you, but also get the appointment that works in your schedule. In the chaotic world of today's healthcare, let ZocDoc be your trusted guide to find a quality doctor in a way that is surprisingly pain-free. With ZocDoc, you can get your docs in a row. Go to ZocDoc.com/MacVoices and download the ZocDoc app for free. Then start your search for a top-rated doctor today. Many are available within 24 hours. That's ZocDoc.com/MacVoices. ZocDoc.com/MacVoices. Thanks to ZocDoc for their support of Mac Voices.
Well, the problem is still going to be the internal port, like the internal USB bus on a machine always was capable of way more throughput and power than any of the external ports ever gave it. That's why you could have a machine that had 8 external USB ports and plug stuff into every
Right.
one of them and not have a problem. And we don't have that kind of thing with USB-C because primarily it's all in laptops because most people have laptops. And everything that you're doing on your laptop, like for your laptop to have that kind of throughput, like now it's a mini. Like you have to have it plugged in
Right.
all the time for the internal bus to be able to manage to route all of that traffic and handle all of that power management on top of whatever else that internal bus is trying to do. And right now, that's the throughput issue. I had this conversation with somebody like a year and a half ago about something, and anyway. So like that's the
So you
problem
said-
is like your computer can't do it because you need to be able to have maximum throughput on all 4 of those channels on all 4 of those ports at the same time, and right now nothing can do that.
right. But
Maybe at some point that will change, but as of now that's the thing, is that the internal bus and the external bus are pretty close in power management and in data throughput. So
I'm
you
looking
can't
at I'm looking at an
that.
Anchor. I'm looking at an Anchor USB-C hub. It's this big. It's got one USB out that you can use, 2 USB-A ports, an HDMI. It's driving an HDMI monitor. So I mean, you keep talking about power and throughput, but the only difference at this point is a connector, right? Because I got if I want to plug in an HDMI monitor from USB-C to HDMI, how is that any different than having the HDMI port on my hub?
I mean, there's tons of hubs out there that have the throughput. Like this one's got, you got the USB-C power. You plug your power right in here, so then you power up the hub. And then
So I don't
you
buy
got-
the argument.
Which one is
there's
that,
not enough,
David?
you
This
know,
one's
there's
made
not
by
enough to go through.
Totu.
So what, you think there's some conspiracy to not produce these devices?
I think there's a
I don't know.
technical issue.
It's obvious-
that's
Yeah,
evading
I don't know what the
all of us.
delay
Yeah.
is. 'cause
Exactly.
again,
There's a technical issue.
well,
Yeah.
the one that Jeff put in the chat. Why is that out there?
I don't know. I'm looking and trying to figure that out, but it's only been out for like 4 months. So,
So yeah, but it's technically possible if it's being
well,
people
so
plugging it in.
that means you're going to probably see,
Well,
in fact,
why did it take so long to come out with that? I mean,
because Satechi did not resolve the technical issue. Some integrated circuit manufacturer did.
Yep, I agree with Jim.
And even though it is 4-port, it's 4-port USB-C, that doesn't necessarily mean that it can handle driving the monitors, that many monitors at the same time.
yeah, I don't know what it could drive, and some people talk about it, and some people say they have 2 hard drives connected in a mouse or something.
It does look
But how
like
much-
that is the only one out there. Maybe Satechi paid a company to do the chip, so they have exclusive access.
Can I charge multiple USB-C devices? Unfortunately, no. The 4-port USB-C hub is designed for data transfer and syncing devices, such as
Yep.
external hard drives or flash drives, and connecting USB-C peripherals, such as keyboards, headphones, or mice. Although the
Exactly.
output of the ports is 5 volt to 0.7 amp each, this is to support bus power devices that are connected to the hub. The ports on the hub are not meant to charge your devices.
And I'm totally cool
Yeah.
with that. If they say they can't charge through that thing, that's fine. I mean, that's I understand that. I
here's
understand
part
that
of the
more
other
than
problem.
getting data across a standard that's newer than the old standard. Is the
Yeah.
issue.
Another part of the problem is that USB-C
Oh, so I found
is very
here on the
confusing. And in this case, we're talking about a USB-C hub that's USB 3.0. So it's dividing 5 gigahertz or gigabits, excuse me, of
By 4.
data transfer across 4 ports. So each one is 625 megabytes.
They were saying
or if you're running at the same time. But I found here on the tech specs, at the very bottom, USB supports do not support video output or charging. So nice product, but it doesn't help Warren with his problem.
it's
No,
just, it's just basically a
that's not-
USB-C hub.
that's not true. That's exactly what I want. I wanted something that plugs in low power devices for USB devices. That's
Then
what
that
I
would
want.
work.
Oh, so that's in addition to the monitor sharing.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
this is we're on a whole different thing than that. Yeah.
Oh,
this
okay.
was-
So I was,
Yeah.
I
No,
was multitasking and
Sorry about that. No.
doing other
This
stuff.
is literally just I have 3 USB devices that are not video or hard drives, and I want to plug it into my Mac Mini that has only 1 free port left. So that's what I want.
Folks, if anybody-
should it be
if
brain
it-
science? But
Yeah, if anybody has suggestions for Warren, please let us know. You can reach him through me or directly. And we've run pretty much up against the time, so I'm going to get us out of here and ask everyone to tell folks where they can find them, and maybe can communicate if you have other ideas. And we'd also love to hear what some of the best products you got in the last year were, because that's how we all learn and pick new products. So I'm going to take it from the bottom up this time. And Brittany, where can folks find you?
If you are scouring the Twitters, you can find me at ADD Liberator. If you're on YouTube, oh yeah, ADD Liberator. And if you're looking for my website for some strange reason, I'm conquer.consulting. And thanks for having me, Chuck.
Hey, it's always great to have you, Brittany. Thanks so much.
Hey, you stay till the end.
You did.
Yeah, what can I say?
You made it. Yeah. It's too much
Go
fun. You
ahead.
never know what you might
Button
miss,
for punishment.
right?
My FOMO won.
Yeah. Mark Fuccio, thank you for making it. Glad you were able to join in. Where can folks find you?
Oh, if I'm not under the bridge by Apple's headquarters, staying out of the rain, then best way virtually to find me is via Twitter at Mark Fuccio, MarkFuccio, all one word, or LinkedIn as well.
Great. Thanks, Mark. Appreciate you the extra effort to get here.
Mark, why do you have a map of Sonoma County behind you?
Oh, that was something I just. Well, I'm an amateur winemaker, and I gave a bunch of people, gifts this year, and that map shows where we got, Chardonnay, Viognier, and Syrah, which is what's in this glass here, But yes, so it's fun. A lot of people, they enjoy the wine. They say, "Oh, are you guys thinking you're starting a commercial winery?" And I always tell them no, and I ask them, "Do you know how you make a small fortune in wine?" And they give me a dumb looking stare.
Start
and I
with
say,
a big
"Start
one."
with the big one." Yes.
It's like a boat. The two best days are the day you buy it and the day you sell it.
Right.
Kelly Gamon, thank you for showing up as well. Really appreciate it. Where can folks find you?
5 days a week, you can find me hosting the Mac Observer Daily Observations podcast over at macobserver.com. You can occasionally find me pestering David and Warren over on In Touch with iOS when Warren can be bothered to show up when I do, which is not often. You can also find me
we're the
over.
same person.
You can also find me over at The Incomparable, talking about various nerdy and also pop culture sorts of things. I have popped up on other shows. There's a panelist. I have my own show in there called I Want My MCU TV, where we talk about the latest Disney Plus streaming show. You should listen to the most recent episode of that, by the way. We did a gift exchange that broke Lisa's internet. It was so awesome. So you should definitely check that out. And the rest of the time, you can find me here or on Twitter as Verso.
Excellent. Thank you, Kelly. Warren, what's the best place for folks to find you, especially if they can solve your problem?
Well, if Kelly's on, then I'm not on. So we know that on Dave's show. So if I do In Touch with iOS, so get a hold of Dave because I don't know the contact info on that thing, but that's if you get a hold of me that way. What's our address? Oh, we'll talk about it later. Or Facebook, the Mac to the Future group. Been nice and have people just asking questions and doing what to do. So
Great. Thanks for being here. Glad you're feeling better, and keep
Thank
it up,
you.
please.
No, it's good to be here.
Jeff Gamet, I know there have been discussions in the private chat room about your next project, but for right now, where can folks find you?
For right now, you can find me right here on Mac Voices Live. But if you need more of me, then how about Jay Gamet on Twitter and Instagram, and youtube.com/Jay Gamet for my videos, and Thursdays on the Big Show, Fridays on the Mac Show, and last week on In Touch with iOS. And thanks for having me back on for that, Dave. And Chuck, I wish we were all together so I could give everyone hugs right now.
Well, maybe one day soon. We can all
One day
hope.
soon.
We can all hope. Jim Ray, they were comparing you to a football coach in the private chat. I'm not quite sure why, other than the headset and the cap. But
Yeah, you were gonna.
And the
I thought you were
zip-up
gonna ask
jacket.
me where I could find me, and I was gonna say apparently
Is it
on
a
the
hoodie, too?
sidelines.
yeah.
50-yard
Yeah.
line,
With the
yelling
blur-
at a
yeah.
ref.
With
Yeah.
the fake background, we could easily just put like a bunch of fans behind you cheering.
There you go. That's your project for next time, Jim, is
I-
create your
I-
fake football team.
I watched a part of a football game yesterday, which was the first one I've watched this season.
Mm.
So
Um,
used to
wasn't a
watch
good one
football, but then
yesterday.
when all the football teams left LA, I just
Was there
Even
like
when-
a migration or something?
even when they came back, I was just like, no.
And now you've got two.
Well, Jim, all
Yeah,
I
I
have
guess
to
so.
say
I,
is
I
go
don't pay any.
Niners.
I don't pay any attention to them. So, yeah, I did watch 15 minutes of the Rams game last night. But anyway, you can find me at proview.com and also at ProviewGym on Twitter. So there you go. All the interesting stuff on Twitter.
Great. Appreciate you being here, Jim. Thanks so much. Last but absolutely not least, we end up with back where we started with Mr. David Ginsburg. David, welcome.
Thanks for having me, Chuck. You can find me at In Touch with iOS at intouchwithios.com. Warren will be back and Chuck will be on the show this week. You can find our YouTube page at youtube.com/DaveG65. I'm here on Tuesdays. I'm on the Mac Show, British Tech Network on Fridays, and Twitter, DaveG65. Thanks again, Chuck.
Thank you, David. Thank you. Chat room, thank you for all the comments and thoughts. We always enjoy having you. We really appreciate you showing up. And to everyone else, we'd love to have you. And so we could thank you for being in the chat room on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, whatever time that is, wherever you are. And of course, if you can't make it because you're doing something really important like sleeping, the shows end up in the Mac Voices feeds sooner or later. So you still get to figure out just what the great information is and what the entertainment is here. So with that, I'm Chuck Joyner. This is Mac Voices. Thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with Mac Voices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you Mac Voices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.